All right, so for this lab, you guys are going to be making some different sized craters and measuring them with a ruler. And craters are going to be formed from a change from potential energy. So I'm going to be dropping eggs from different heights, okay, and also different massed eggs. And so different potential energies, right, will ultimately result in different kinetic energies, which will basically be converted into work as these craters form. And the size of the crater depends on how much energy this egg has. So the way you do it, I've got this egg. I did find that when I just drop it, I was having trouble like getting a, I don't know, a consistent like drop. And so I found it was easiest. I think you could just do this with a piece of tape. You could just put a piece of tape up top as a tab to grab, but I took a needle and a sewing needle or a pin, and I just poked it through the top of the egg so that I made myself a little handle to grab onto. You can bend it so that it's straight. So there I've got a little handle, and I can like drop it consistently. Okay, then notice, oh, it does make a mess. So you guys will need to, either have a vacuum or lay down some paper. I'm in my basement and I have this column here, so it was a good reference point because I could make marks. So you're gonna drop it from 6 different heights. So I marked off like there's 50 centimeters, there's 100 centimeters, there's 150 centimeters. I just made some different marks. You could, tape off something on your wall, and you're gonna be dropping these eggs. So the way you do it, you're gonna need to get a few cups of flour. Okay, I just put it in a dish, and this is just takeout dish, so it's probably about 1.5 inches deep. I think any less deep than that, and you're gonna run into problems where the egg sinks all the way to the bottom. Every time you make a crater, you wanna just consistently kind of pack this. So, and I don't want it to be super dense, but I just wanna do a repeatable density. So every time I'm done, I kind of drop it a few times, and then I'll take a note card or a piece of paper, see if I can get a smooth surface. It doesn't have to be perfect. There, that looks pretty good. Okay, then you're gonna test different masses. Now for the first test, you're gonna test different heights. I recommend that you use somewhere between 5 and 10 pennies, maybe 5 pennies for the first test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can play around with this till you get craters that you like the size of. If you make it too heavy, it kind of like always makes a huge crater because it's always basically blowing through the whole layer of flour. If you make it, say, too small, then maybe you don't get a huge variation in crater diameter. So kind of find the sweet spot. 5 seem to work. Okay, then you're gonna test by dropping from 6 different heights. So say I was dropping from 50 centimeters, I hold the bottom of the egg at 50 centimeters, and I go 3, 2, 1. Okay, I carefully, without changing the diameter, okay, I'm gonna try and lift this up. And if you get an oblong, like if it lands on its side or anything like that, try and do your best to consistently use the same technique to determine your diameter. But I'm measuring these in millimeters. Okay, so in millimeter, it's helpful to have a transparent ruler. If you don't have a transparent ruler, you could get away with, another ruler. This one is 33 millimeters. Okay, in diameter. And I can just show you, I'll scoot this over to the side. You can do multiple drops in without having to reset this if you're, clever. This one is from 1.5 millimeters, or sorry, 1.5 meters, 150 centimeters. So here we go. And so you can see it's a little bit oblong where the egg tilted. So I'm not gonna measure that little offshoot. I'm gonna try and get this diameter here. So at that drop height, this one is about 40, yeah, we'll say 40 millimeters, okay? So first test, you're just varying heights. Choose 6 different heights. And then after you've done experiment number 1, you're going to repeat, but you're going to do, actually not repeat, you're going to do mass. So you're going to test an empty egg from a height that you choose. Okay, so again, 1 meter tends to work, but you could definitely do whatever height, but you're going to keep the height constant. So you test an empty egg from that height. You then put in 5 pennies, test. You put in 10 pennies, test. You put in 15 pennies, test. So you're doing 4 different masses from the same height to see the impact on crater size. Collect your data. That's like, the data collection should be the fun part. Then the mathy part, you're going to use a spreadsheet and Desmos, and we're going to come up with a formula that describes the relationship between diameter and drop height. And ultimately, remember, the potential energy is being converted to kinetic energy. The kinetic energy is being converted into work. And it's work because all of the flour that was here is now here. And that's the definition of work. If you're moving something a distance, you've done work. So this egg moved this flour a distance of this much, and it did that by losing some energy. So the energy that was lost by the egg was gained by the flour, and work was done on the flour. So we say the egg does work on the flour. And that's hopefully how it ties into this week. But really, this lab is more about the math. So get your data, clean up your mess, right? So vacuum it up, clean up your mess, and then jump into the spreadsheet, and we'll talk about it in class too. So good luck.